Many times when you run a small business, one of the challenges you face is you start reading and learning and you say, man, after all this learning I did, management sucks. I should be a leader because all these authors say you got to be a leader. And I'm here to tell you that everything in life is about having a defensive strategy and an offensive strategy. Let me explain. Sports, defense, offense, wealth management, defensive strategy, insurance, annuities, bonds, gold, offensive strategy, stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, defense, offense. Everything you're doing, you need defense and offense. And in building your business to the next level, on the defense side, you have managers. On the offense side, you have leaders. So today, I'm not going to make a video bashing managers. Some of the points I make, it's going to highlight why managers get in their own way, but I'm mainly going to tell you the differences, 21 differences between a manager and a leader. So let's get right into it. Number one, managers have a tendency of telling you things. Here's what I need you to do. Here's what this, telling you. Here's what you got to do. Tell. Leaders sell why you ought to do it. Look, I want you to do this because if you do, ... Here's what we need to do because if we do, we could ... They're selling all their points. They're telling all their points, right? Managers tell, leaders sell on why we ought to come together, why we ought to think bigger, why we ought to come earlier, why we ought to stay later, why we ought to be doing this better, why we ought to... This whole thing is about selling. They sell culture. They'll say everything's about selling to them. Next, train, show. Managers train. Leaders show. Here's how you do this. A leader says, here, come watch how I do it. Here, come into this appointment with me. Come into this meeting with me. Watch me work on this. Watch how I call this. Watch how you handle a conflict. Watch how you deal with a customer complaint. I want you to see how I'm handling this. I want you to see I'm talking to an associate. And this is out of a manual. By the way, watch this. You need the manual. You do need the manual, but you also need the leader. If there's only the show without it being in a manual, then you don't have a way to duplicate because you do need the manual. But managers train, leaders show. Managers, logic, leaders, emotion. Let me explain. Many times in a family, you'll say, here's what I want to do in life. Maybe your mother's going to go to the logical side. Honey, it's the risk. What if this happens? I don't know. I think it's this. I think it's... And maybe your father's going to say, yeah, go do it. You know, it's this. It's complete. Or maybe the other way around. Mother's going to say, yeah, you ought to go do that. I may say, no, let's be a little bit more careful. Because one always thinks logical. One thinks emotional. Logic is, here's what it's going to take to get there. I think it's going to be very difficult, man, if we got to do all this other stuff. The leader's going to say, man, what if we pull it off? What if we go out there and get it? Man, I'm excited about this. Guys, we can pull this off. Let's go get this. Emotion, logic. By the way, both are needed. You need logic and you need emotion. Okay, number 4. System versus mission vision. A manager typically is driven based on trusting a system. You need a system. A leader is typically sold to constantly reminding everybody about what the mission statement of the company is and what the vision is. Here's what we're going to be doing. Here's what the mission is. This is what we do on a daily basis. Manager, but listen, the system. First, you got to do this. Second, you got to do this. 3, you got to do this. 4, you got to do this. Both are needed. Number 5, tracking versus driving. A manager tracks all the numbers. Needed. But a leader knows how to drive the numbers. One is, last month we did this. Report. But the manager doesn't know what to do next with the report. The leader comes in and says, these are the reports. Listen, guys, here's what I think we can do. As I look at the numbers here, the last 90 days you did, here's what I foresee you doing next month. I think if we do this, we can take this to a whole different level. And what do you think about this? What's your commitment? What are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with that? They drive versus managers collect reports and give the numbers. 6, avoid conflict. 7, address conflicts. Let me explain. You ever have somebody where whenever problem, maybe it could be yourself, a problem comes up and you wait a day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You don't want to bring it up because you're afraid of the conflict you're going to face. The leader's going to say, give me the phone, let's call him right now. Hey, what are you upset with? Okay? This lags a little bit. Managers can improve in this. Leaders want to address it right off the bat and get it done, right? Number 7, numbers focused, leaders people focused. Here's the numbers that we did. They look at everything as a number. Here's the numbers. By the way, again, you need that. But the leader's going to look at it and say, but I think this guy can do this. This guy's strength, I don't think we have him in the right position. This person, I don't think we have him in the right place. I think this person's going to be much better being in this position here. Okay, maybe we ought to be able to do this to pull this out of him because it's people-centric, it's number-centric. Number 8 is accountability by force, accountability by choice. If you don't do this, you're fired. In a corporate environment, everybody's got to pull their own weight. Everybody. There's a lot of these books or projects or all this stuff that you hear about where people say, oh, in our company, we pay everybody $70,000 a year. The CEO that did that, that story was good for 2 months. You know what happened a year later? He lost his best people because that philosophy didn't work. He wanted to make sure everybody was happy. So you need somebody in an office that accountability by force. We got to get this thing done. This has got to get done. But the leader's got to come in and say, listen, guys, we have a choice. We can either not hit our deadline and have to go against the investors and tell them we didn't hit this, or we can get this done and let them know that we have a group here that gets things done. Which one do we want to be? That's choice versus force. Hey, if you don't do this, you're fired. Your job's on the line. Okay? Little bit of both is needed in a football team, in a sports team, in a business. If a person doesn't deliver, they may lose their job. This is not like a emote. This is what has happened. You're running a real business. A lot of people are counting on it. 9, managing work versus leading people. That part's obvious. Number 10, oak tree, willow tree. Let me explain. I used to be always very firm with everybody. Always very firm with everybody. My expectation was always high from everybody all the time until I realized that some people are dealing with a lot of different things in their lives. So I would have a conversation and dance with them a little bit and be a willow tree with the wind and just kind of listen to them and see what they're saying and what's their thoughts and what's their language, and then challenge them a little bit in a way that they would take it and kind of hear them out. And I started realizing this part here works very well long term because it allows you to get the best out of your people, but it kind of works if there's also an oak tree that's working with you. By the way, if I have an oak tree and a willow tree working together, that's a very, very, very good combination. You can call it good cop, bad cop, whatever you want to call it. This makes for a great combination if they're working together. They make a very good forest together in business. Number 11, sometimes managers tend to complicate. Really, sometimes managers tend to complicate. And they'll take a simple thing that we need to do and makes everybody so complicated. Oh my gosh, this is so difficult. We can't really pull it off. A leader will come in and simplify. Guys, all we need to do is do this, make this call, make this thing, contact this person, we can get it done. That's what a leader does. Leaders simplifies. Managers sometimes, because they're overthinking, they complicate certain things. 12, let me see what 12 is. Okay, I've done what's expected of me. Sometimes it's just, I've done what you expected of me. In my job description, I've met these requirements. A leader comes and works on days that he doesn't need to because he has to sacrifice. That's why he gains the credibility and the respect of being called a leader. And the manager still has respect, but never at the level that a leader does, because a leader always sacrifices a little bit more than everybody else. That's why they call him a leader, okay? Number 13, achiever, overachiever. Sometimes a manager just wants to hit that level. I have achieved. I'm doing good. We're doing okay. A leader is rarely satisfied. A leader, you could be in a setting, you're like, oh my gosh, we just had the greatest month. Why are you like this? Why are we doing it? We just crushed it last month. He or she's an overachiever. They don't know what it is to stay at the status quo. They always want to do more and take it to the next level. That's why a few who know how to run with a leader who's an overachiever eventually have big victories themselves as well. Most people can't handle working with an overachiever because at times it's a little too much for everybody. 14, overthinking on a management side. Leaders decisive. Overthinking, oh, what if this happens? Consequences, too much of all consequences. A leader says, here's what we're doing, this is what we're going, this is what's going to happen, we're going to be okay, let's make the move. Next, 15, managers seek credit at times. You know, I came up with this. Sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, but sometimes managers seek credit. A leader gives credit. And eventually when a leader gives credit, guess what happens? The victory becomes so much bigger, and the leaders get big, massive credit together as a team because they were able to lead an organization to get this massive victory, so everybody gets the credit. 16, managers avoid risk, safe, don't want to put the money here. What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? A leader takes risk. They don't know any other thing than taking risk. They sit there in their mind, they process, watch. A leader will typically come and talk to a manager because it's logical thinking versus emotional. And a leader would say, hey, what do you think about this party if I do this? What will happen with the company if we do this? Well, you know, this person could do this, and what if we get sued, and what if we get this, and what if we get that? How much would this cost? How much would that cost? How much would this lawsuit cost? How much would... Let's do it. here's what we're going to be doing. Let's take that risk. I'm okay with it because 20% risk here, 80% is victory. Let's take that risk. Versus the manager is going to say, I don't know if we should do that or not. Pat, I don't know if we should do that or not. Mary, I don't know if we should do that or not. Leader takes that risk. Number 17, linear growth, exponential growth. Managers will get linear growth steadily. They're going to get that growth. You will rarely, with managers, create an exponential, explosive growth, okay? You need the leader to have exponential growth. By the way, let me give you a contradiction here on what I just said on my own message to you. A leader without a manager that's behind the scenes doing their part can't steadily maintain exponential growth because this is needed behind closed doors. This is why be very careful every time you bash managers. Because behind closed doors, great leaders always have phenomenal managers. Behind closed doors that know how to stabilize the exponential growth that takes place because all they do is grow the knobs. We need a little bit more here. We need a little bit more here. Boom! We just got 17,000 people that visited our website and placed orders today. No problem. The manager's ready for that. The leader is driving it exponentially. 18, authority, charisma. Sometimes you need authority. Military, someone's got to have authority. Someone's got to lead, right? In a football team, someone's got to have authority. Someone's got to lead with charisma. Hey, we can do this, guys. Look at some of the coaches that their charisma, it's a different kind of a charisma they got. John Wooden had charisma. He was witty, right? Riley was charismatic. He knew how to get, and he was a little bit authoritative, but people have charisma who get others say, man, I'm just willing to buy into this message on what we're going to do together. Authority by itself typically won't go to the highest level. Authority with a charismatic leader, they're combined together, they can go to a higher level. Number 19, managers typically don't know how to let loose. They're always serious. Very serious stuff we got going on here. Leaders know when it's time to let loose because when we play loose, everyone's nerves just kind of calms down and we play better. We dance better. We perform better. We have more fun together. So leaders sometimes know how to take the tension off and the pressure off of people. Next, number 20, profit, value, short-term, long-term. Leader creates a lot of value. Manager sometimes wants to profit to make the investors happy, make the shareholders happy because we got to get some profits right now. Leader saying we're increasing value long-term. 21, last but not least, managers control, leaders influence. Leaders influence others to take action is what they do while managers are trying to control everything all the time. And if you try to control everything all the time, you are not letting the Tasmanian devil have the life of its own to exponentially go out there and grow your business. So this is my challenge to you after watching this video. I want you to go back and watch the video again. Ask yourself this question on the 21 different points. Which one of them do you yourself lean towards being a manager versus being a leader? Once you're done doing that, let me know if you think you are more of a manager or a leader and what your goals are in the future. Do you want to be on the leadership side? What are some adjustments you need to make? Anyways, if you have any other comments, thoughts, or questions, comment below. And by the way, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, click on the subscribe button. Our goal is to get to 1 million subs before the end of the year, and we need your help for us to get to 1 million subs. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.